carry investigation and tell of the suitability of the maize we have in stocks in our stores. The report given by KEBS was that 67% of the food we had, to their report, they said that 3% of the food in stock is okay, and 67%, according to their standard, had been downgraded. And they issued warning that you should know that maize that not meet the standards, it is illegal to sell goods that are substandard. That was their conclusion. So, Chairman, the issue here is about standards. It is true KEBS are the custodians of standards, but they work also in collaboration with other institutions. For example, when it comes now to downgrading food, issues of maize and other food related, the authority will rest with the advice KEBS is given by the by the Ministry of Health, which now will be able to classify the food we have according to the categories. We have from grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, then grade 4. They are the ones who are supposed to tell us whether the maize we have in store can be used for animal feed, should be able to be destroyed, or can be used for flour and other purpose. And therefore, what we have done so far with the report from KEBS, we have set an interministerial committee whereby we have brought in public health, KEBS, and our ministry. In the ministry, we have brought in CALO, Kenya Agriculture Livestock Research Organization, and also KEFIS, so that the team can be able to sit down, because this is a very serious issue. We are talking of maize that we are consuming. I believe all of us by the end of the day will have consumed ugari in one way or the other. Because even if you're not consuming maize through ugari, you can consume maize through animal products. And therefore, it's a very sensitive issue. And we promised by the end of this week, the committee should be able to sit down and to tell us in a very comprehensive report the actual status. We are talking of aflatoxin in the maize. We are talking of fumonisin in the maize. We are talking of weevil attacks, breakages, and there are 10 parameters that we look at when it comes to the safety of food. And therefore, it would be important that we wait for this committee to give us a comprehensive, a decisive answer on the actual position of the maize we have in the country, the safety of the food, of the maize. On the issue of disposing, yes, one thing that we can admit is that the maize we have in our stores are deteriorating every one day. For example, the more than 1.2 million bags of maize that are still in silos have discolored, meaning they need to be looked at and see whether they can now be used for breading other maize, for flour, or we can still downgrade it for animal usage. And therefore, what we are recommending, and SFR has recommended, and this is what the proposal we have to the cabinet, is that we immediately dispose of 2 million bags of maize, whereby the 1.2 million bags are still in silos that need to be rebagged and sold out, and another almost over 700 that have been downgraded to grade 4, which also need to be urgently disposed of. We equally have some maize that were imported from Mexico. We have over 240,000 bags. Again, this maize was imported at 14% moisture content, because it was supposed to be disposed of immediately because of the shortage then. And the maize also need to be disposed of immediately. And therefore, that is what we are addressing. Cabinet should make decision on whether we dispose. But we also have now the challenge, before we dispose, we need to get that confirmation from the interministerial team that we have set up to look at the safety. And once that is ascertained, that's a procedure now we are going to follow to see that we can be able to dispose of this maize. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, on the issue of the maize, is that we really need to look backward and see the mandate of the SFR, a National Cereals and Produce Board, on the issue of disposing the maize. What will inform us on the price that we are going to set on disposing? Because again, we are going to look at the market. Again, we are going to look at the deterioration. We look at the mandate as envisaged, stabilizing the market. And therefore, all those parameters will be looked at before we come up with a conclusion. Can I go now to the pricing, or we can interrogate that first?
Proceed.
On the issue of pricing, this is domiciled with the SFR. SFR is an institution with a mandate given by an act of parliament, and they carry their duty independently, and theirs is to advise me as the minister. But they have the guidelines for them to set the prices year in, year out. And once they set up the prices, they come to us and request money, and for us now to authorize National Cereals and Produce Board to start now vetting, and after vetting, we give the money, National Cereals and Produce money, to purchase maize on behalf of Strategic Food Reserve. This year, they also use matrix. It's a multisectoral team that is set up to come up with the pricing. In that committee where they sit down, they give us a feedback on the parameters they looked at. And what I was informed is that A, the prices are set and reviewed annually by considering the following factors: preferring local maize market prices. Number 2, local and regional supplies. Number 3, regional maize prices parity, that is the East African Community and COMESA. Maize production costs. Strategic Food Reserve, before sitting and announcing the prices, relies on field survey of the factors above. 3 surveys have been done this year, putting the cost of production at 1,530 per bag, and the average price per bag currently in the market is 1,644. With the markup of 35%, that takes the taking care of the 8% tax. SFR thus came up with the 2,300 as good price per bag to cover the farmer and adequately stock the food strategic reserve demand. That is the report I got from the strategic food reserve.
Thank you very much. Honorable Osoro.
Thank you very much. I've really been having issues, Chairman. I was burning when the CS was talking, and thank you for the chance now. I am so much concerned on the competence of the people who work with NCPB, because we recently had a food shortage challenge just the other year that prompted issues of licenses of importation, tax-free of maize. And we are now talking about toxic food, toxic maize in their cereal board, in their cereal stores, of about 1.2 million bags. We recently got a research by the Kenya Agriculture Research Institute that was aimed at, giving proposals on the food shortage crisis that say that we need to have a food reserve, strategic food reserve at about 8 million bags to curb that challenge in the near future. That is at 90 kg, the 90 kg bags. Now we are disposing of, we are looking for ways of disposing of 1.2 million bags that have been bought by the taxpayers' money, that now we are being told is toxic. We do not know. I mean, who was in charge? Who should be held responsible? How did we get ourselves here? How did it happen that we are getting to the level of losing 1.2 million bags?
That is the question. That is the question. Thank you. Honorable CS, you can compile the questions so that you can answer in one go. Yes, Honorable Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to find out from the CS, these 240,000 bags from Mexico, is it paid for?
Yes. Answer later.
You'll answer later.
Yes,
just
yes.
take it. Not,
So next,
no, I have two questions.
Okay.
I want to find out whether the 240,000 bags is paid for. That's number one. Number two, I just want to say the price of 2,300, especially in relation to the production cost. I want to see the formula the SFR have used in black and white to come up with a production cost of 1,530 per bag. That is not a price applicable anywhere from where I come from. Thank you.
Honorable Adam.
But CS, my question is about also the pricing. I remember the last season we were buying maize at 3,200 per 90 kg bag. When we were getting that price, did we consider the same parameters? And what changed? Because the economic that we know in this country and in the world is every year things go up. When reduction from 3,200 to 2,300, and the same parameters were used, then we would like to know exactly which parameters were used during that time and now, and what is the difference between these two parameters.
Honorable Janet, and before we come to you.
Thank you, Chair. On the same note to the Vice Chair and my friend Yusuf, I also want to ask, at what yield per acre were you calculating to arrive at that price of 2,300? And to be said, sincerely, now that we are going to stay away from cartels and